organizations. That's what I try to do every day since the last 20 years.
Okay, that's so
Tell
nice
me
to hear.
about yourself and tell me about your organization, please, Mr. Chandra.
Yes, thank you so much. So, my journey starts off around 1998 when there was a spike in global warming. And there was a heightened awareness about planetary limits.
Okay.
I had just graduated out of a premier business school in India, Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, in 1997.
1997.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes. So even though I was quite young, I looked into the future, uh, uh, some kind of crystal ball gazing led me to believe that uh, it couldn't be business as usual.
Okay. Well,
So, yeah.
Are we going to have a meeting with other people or
Yes,
just
yes,
you and
yes.
I?
It is scheduled for 8 p.m. So, yes, Mr. Prasad Jaladi has already joined. Hello, Prasad. Welcome.
Okay.
Good evening.
I hope you already
good
had
morning.
an introduction earlier.
Excuse me, I didn't hear.
Did you already have a prior introduction? I shared the numbers.
Do you have, by the way, and because I am with my cell phone, but I would like to get in with my computer. Do you have a ID and password in the Zoom so I can
Yes.
get in with my computer? Could you please
Yes.
send me by WhatsApp the ID plus the password? Could you do that for me, please?
It would be there on the email from which you registered. All the details would be there.
My email is not working.
Okay,
So I
okay,
need
okay.
in
So in
WhatsApp.
that case, what has happened is that because I sent out, quite a few, WhatsApp messages on my petition, it is going to be reopened in just about half an hour from now. It was blocked for
In
about
half an
24
hour.
hours.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
in
in
half an
that case,
hour, I
Prasad,
will be back.
could you help Mr. Plancarte with the meeting password? Could you send it to him on his WhatsApp?
Okay.
Do we have on the email?
Half an hour?
Actually, I
Yes,
told the
it's
same
there
to
on the
Mr.
email.
Yeah, so I told him, even in our email, when we hit the Zoom link, it is not asking for any username or password. So,
okay, if you
so I
register from the
explained
same
him the
email.
same thing.
Yeah.
Since he is not able to access to his email, it wouldn't be useful for him anyway. That's my thinking. So,
Okay.
so we need to have a session for him how he could overcome that thing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So it is basically you did not set up.
Well, very good. Okay.
Hello, everyone.
It's a pleasure to be from Mexico with both of you, Mr. Chandra, Mr. Prasad. My name is Francisco Plancarte. I started as a mundialist in 2001 after I saw the tragedy of the New York Twin Towers come down, and I said to myself that I was going to do something about it. I founded Planetaphilia in 2001 with the proposal to transform the United Nations organization into a World Federation of Nations. That was the original proposal. And after a few years, I discovered the procedure of Article 109 of the UN Charter in paragraph number 3. It is the San Francisco Promise that after the 1945, the third paragraph said that a conference should be agended 10 years later in 1955 so that the United Nations could be renewed. So what happened in 1955? Well, the General Assembly had a resolution to review, but pending the date and place until today. So I think that the third paragraph, which is called by my friend Dr. Sharei Shariar, the San Francisco Promise, is a procedure, legitimate procedure, but it is very difficult because it's a very old resolution. So in the last few years, 4 or 5 years ago, I told my friend Dr. Sharei Shariar, Sharei, let's find an alternative way, alternative procedure in paragraph 1. Let's make a new call, my friend. Let's promote a new call with a 2/3 majority of the General Assembly plus 9 of any members of the Security Council, which has 10 non-permanent members. So we can have the Global South with the 2/3, we will reach the 2/3 with the Global South and 9 of the non-permanent members, Sharei, so we can make a new call with Global South and maybe with the European Union also. But we will get the votes with India, China, and the rest of the Global South in Latin America and the continent of Africa. And he agreed with me that we may promote Article 109 with paragraphs first and third. They are complement. They are a legitimate procedure that we can promote with our other organizations like the one that you are explaining to me, which I am delighted to hear about your organization, Mr. Chandra, Mr. Prasad, and also WCPA, also World Federalist Movement, also Democratic World Federalist, and in Germany with my friend Andreas Bummel, which has been my friend for more than 20 years also. So we can make an alliance, Article 109, from civil society, because as you know, Mary Robinson has a coalition of states and also NGOs, but we may add an alliance or federalist organizations. That's what I have in mind for you and for WCPA and WFM and Democratic World Federalist. We can make a team, an alliance, Article 109 from civil society. That's the message That's my proposal for you, my friends. Uh, I will have to leave, and maybe we can have another Zoom meeting with other people. But it has been my pleasure to get in touch with you. I think we all are goodwill citizens of the world. We are leaders of uh, organizations that are mundialist, federalist, and parliamentarians. So I finish my presentation with these words. I believe in humankind. I believe in human sovereignty. That's my last message. Sovereignty of humanity above any national sovereignty of any country. Human sovereignty, my friends, is our basis. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Plancarte. It's such a pleasure and privilege to have you here and to listen to the backstory of how the Article 109 has been pending since 1955 and how several attempts have been scuttled to get UN a democratic and as a world parliament. So
Very well.
yeah, let me also make it very, crystal clear that we are taking a very radically different approach from the old, alliances of World Federalist Movement, World Constitution and
Okay.
Parliament Association, as well as large number of civic society organizations.
Very
And
good.
since you mentioned that you also have another parallel meeting, let me straight away come to the point of how we believe that we could be the game changer with respect to bringing Earth Federation alive and get it a legitimate acceptance from
Very well.
humanity, from people around the world, as well as existing power structure, including the multilateral institutions like United Nations, as well as various other multilateral forums, bilateral, as well as the sovereign nation states themselves. So I put it up into a note called, the theater of the absurd that is playing on the world stage uh, in the
Okay.
interregnum between Samuel Huntington's, premise of clash of civilizations and what we foresee as an coming era of the concert of civilizations.
Well,
So
very good.
we are
So I'm sorry I have to leave, and my pleasure to get to know you and collaborate. Count on me for the unity to unify all our federalist organizations.
Uh, yeah,
Thank you.
so thank you so much for your good wishes. We will certainly stay in contact. But let me, spell out the purpose of organizing this meeting very briefly,
Very
before you
good.
have to leave in another maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh,
So,
okay.
let me straight away drive to the point that we are taking a quantum international relations approach, which is very different from the conventional international relations approach that all the older organizations have been following. That is the first point. In that,
Okay.
we have already shared in various sessions and in exchanges about wave function collapse that allows a multiple superposition of events and action plans to coalesce and converge on single focal point of how to achieve peace, stability, and sustainability through
Very well.
declaring in Earth Federation. That is the first point. The second point where we apply the quantum international relations approach is in terms of quantum entanglement. So interestingly, and this is just a metaphor before we formally establish it, that Donald Trump's very maverick and very unconventional moves, such as setting up the Board of Peace, actually creates space for civic society to respond, where conventional power structure of United Nations and sovereign nation states are completely paralyzed, and they are playing out in the theater of the absurd. So we can unilaterally declare Earth Federation. We can declare, Earth Emergency Rescue Administration as part of WLA 6, ratified in the Second Provisional World Parliament in 1985, and again updated in the recent 16th Provisional World Parliament as WLA 91. So we adapt it to create something called NEERA, Novel Earth Emergency Rescue Administration. And in that, we are creating an organization structure in which there is a 200-member board of trustees as per WLA 6, as well as there is an executive director. So we initially appoint an interim executive director, and I have invited Mr. Prasad Jaladi to take up the responsibility as an interim executive director, and we are still discussing on that. Then it talks about 5 regional directors. So if we have some time, I will just walk you through a presentation in which I share how we have devised an approach which allows us to activate a novel Earth Emergency Rescue Administration. So let me just very briefly open the presentation. I've just yeah. Can you see it? Can you see my screen?
The presentation did not pop up yet. We
one
see
minute.
that you're trying to.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Let me just.
Screen scale. Yeah, now we can see. Yes.
Now you can see. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is a little lag.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You still need to expand it. Yes.
Okay, 1 minute. Yeah. Yes, can you see the Google slide on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'll quickly go through in just about 10 minutes. So can you read the text on the screen? I'll quickly read it out in case it's not very clear. ViBES Global Alliance 2026, Declaration of Earth Federation as an urgent and critical response to avert civilizational collapse and human extinction. We are all born human. The challenge in these times is to stay human. For that, we must together stand up to the dehumanizing, despiritualizing, and deracinating influences as we begin to step out of the lost century, which I reckon to be 1925 to 2025, which I've shared in various thoughts. Now, yesterday was an eventful day when the bulletin of atomic scientists, they announced that the Doomsday Clock is 4 seconds ahead from the previous year, which was 89 seconds to the midnight. It is now at 85 seconds to the midnight. Now, I shared an article in which if this was equivalent to 1,000-kilometer journey, where you are hurtling down the slope, and then you hit a cliff at the end of the road. We are almost about 80 meters away from the cliff, where after that there is a precipitous collapse. So this could not be undermined by whatever circumstances of our inability to come to terms with this reality and be prepared for emergency response. So I shared here what was ratified as the WLA-6, the Earth Emergency Rescue Administration, and it talks about a 200-member board of trustees, and this was the provision that was laid out. Now what we have done is we have adapted it, and we've called it a new Earth Emergency or a novel Earth Emergency Rescue Administration. And in that we have retained the structure in terms of 5 regional directors. We have defined the regions, and then we have a structure which further details the various functions that it will take up as part of emergency response. So there are 14 functional committees looking at food, water, air, the waste management, transportation, housing, health, education, etc. And then we have up to the grassroots level, we have a structure which creates a grassroots to global architecture. And in that we have 60 provinces around the world. So the whole geography is reconstituted into 60 provinces, and each province has 108 districts. Each district has 108 villages, and then there is an intermediary structure called zero waste system and localized abundance and circular economy. So each district has 6 such zones, and each zone has 108 village. And finally, each village is constituted of 108 kutum or intentional communities. So this kind of grassroots to global structure allows us to, create activated emergency response, up to the last mile. So we have now, since these regions have unequal population, and since so this is our equivalent to the electoral districts, which can be mapped on the 1,000 electoral districts that WCPA proposes. So in this region 1 is, the Americas. Then we have region 2, which is Atlantic, West Africa, and Eastern Americas. Then you can see the details. I'll also share the presentation later on. Then we have region 3 and 4, which is the western part of Africa, Europe, and then we have the West Asia and the South Asia, which is the most populous part. And then finally we have East Asia and Oceania. So these are the 5 regions for which each one of them we have a director as per the WLA-6. Then we have these various committees which are mapped to the sustainable development goals, because they are completely off track. So as you can see, food security, regenerative agrosystems, water security, air quality, zero waste. Then we have similarly digital GIS infrastructure. So this is a complete end-to-end solution for not only fulfilling the SDGs by 2030, as well as it allows us to create regenerative ecology and regenerate our air, water, and land systems, so that using the latest advances in technology. So this is what we call the LACE model, localized abundance and circular economy. So you can see this in this stack here. So we have innovative solutions by which we achieve these goals, in a much more accelerated and in a much more robust and resilient way than what has been otherwise projected by the United Nations and various constituents. So this is a depiction of how NEERA creates an action plan for peace, sustainable development, and justice around the world. So just a philosophical background that we see civilization at the crossroads, at which it can either use its attention and its energies towards natural and indigenous revival, or it can continue to go in the unnatural and non-indigenous way towards pathways like transhumanism, genetic modification, dehumanization, despiritualization, and separation, or towards following nature in harmony, beneficial, self-empowered, love, care, connection, which Kim Knight at the World Council for Health called a better way. So similarly, we have this, as I shared, yes. So next is that what comes in the way is a real HIV pandemic, as we call it, of hubris, ignorance, and vanity. Now, these are the real challenges, as also pointed out by one of the leading climate scientists, Gus Speth, in his this very famous statement, in which he said that I used to think the top environment problems were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change. I thought that 30 years of good science could address these problems. I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. And to deal with this, we need a cultural and spiritual transformation. And we scientists don't need know how to do that. Now, this is a very humbling proposition, which calls for a move from Western dominant model to the Eastern philosophy of acceptance and universalism, rather than the doctrines of greed, apathy, and selfishness, which are so inbuilt into the Western philosophy. By and large, I'm not talking about the what many philosophers may ideate. But I'm talking about the de facto play out of what we recognize as Western civilization today. So it is very important to understand that this cannot go on without hitting an end of road scenario where we are looking at civilizational collapse, as well as we are looking at human extinction. So we need to move, like just as human body needs to recover from acidic to alkaline environment. So we have built too much of brownfield around the world. So our initiative essentially looks at how to create more green fields using AI, using satellite navigation, using many of the recent technological advances, which regenerate the ecology as well as the cultural and social fabric, which supports equitable way of living in joy and bliss, with food and water security, with good air quality, as well as which is sustainable for generations to come. So this calls for a move from a parasitic codependency in the Western model to a synergistic interdependency in a more Eastern and a more global South oriented approach. Similarly, I refer to what one of the leading statesmen, Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, talks about the end era of Western world dominance, which was earlier believed would go on forever, is now coming to an end. And Mr. Donald Trump, stands as a Faustian figurehead, who is calling the shots and actually bringing the curtains down for the Western civilization, which has dominated for the past 500 years. And what happened with the Alex Pretty killing, who was a legal observer, who was trying to defend a lady who was, pinned down by the immigration and custom enforcement officials, the ICE, the new Gestapo in America, in Minnesota. So we are already beyond the tipping point where it looks inevitable that America will collapse under the weight of its own contradictions in a civil war that looks unstoppable. And with the external pressures created by Mr. Trump's very volatile and unpredictable, and he's completely lost the trust of even his closest allies in the European Union, as well as around the world. So this is an opportunity. This widens the window of opportunity for the alliance of World Federalists as well as WCPA and World People's Assembly from Russia, which incidentally organized one of the largest civic society events in Moscow at the World Trade Center last year in September, where 4,000 delegates attended from around 153 countries around the world. So I would like to share that Earth government is an idea whose time has come, and we are no longer, just talking about alliances. We are no longer procrastinating the inevitable. We are actually talking about the de facto merger of all civic society organizations, which really mean well towards, replacing the United Nations, because of its veto powers being the fatal flaws. There is no way that Article 109 could ever come, true. Though we must keep trying. I'm not dissuading anyone to keep trying, but because of the veto powers, the 109 becomes completely, toothless. And then the Article 6, which talks about expulsion of repeat violators of UN Charter, which I referred to many ambassadors in several meetings in Delhi in the past several months, including the Russian ambassador as well as the Brazil ambassador, Ambassador Kenneth, and the High Commissioner of South Africa in India, Mr. Anil Sukhlal. So all put together, I think after 80 years of United Nations, we must bring the curtains down. And just like League of Nations had to make way for a new organization in the name of United Nations, we must now announce today itself, after the Doomsday Clock reset yesterday, makes it very evident that we are hurtling down a downward slope over the cliff, and we must pull all the brakes. We must, hold the steering. We cannot leave it to people like Trump and Putin and Xi Jinping to, become, a party to the suicide pact on which the civilization is hurtling towards. So, unleashing globalization of trade and commerce, currency, and digital media without a government in place is putting the cart before the horse. It has brought world to a standstill, and we are already witnessing the consequences. So, in my final slides, I'd like to share that there's only one state solution: Earth as a whole. There cannot be two ways about it at the moment of history where we stand today. So that's my final slide, and I'd invite you to sign this petition, which many of you already have, who may be listening to this video. And those who haven't, please sign it and share it as widely as possible, so that, in due course, we earn the legitimacy of first the people and then the different groups and civic society institutions, the sovereign nation states, the bilateral and the multilateral institutions. And then get on to activate the emergency response, so that we don't regret and we don't repent later on. Thank you so much. So that is my presentation, Mr. Plancarte, which you would acknowledge is very radically different from what I would call a very laid back approach, which keeps procrastinating without taking any accountability. So with that note, I'd like to now invite all of your comments, and also then call upon the larger formations to get on board, because unless we start the dialogue and the coalition among ourselves, we cannot expect the sovereign nation states and the other multilateral institutions to get on board. Thank you.
So I go first. I
Yes, please.
appreciate
Thank you.
Mr. Placarte's vision and the approach he has, and also your proposal also, which is on solid grounds. They are appearing to me like two wheels of a car to run faster. So I agree with you on all fronts, and also it is becoming so risky for any country and every country when this veto power is going on. The reason is simple: they're not doing right things, and at the same time they hold the power to do to make wrong decisions, right? So they have no self-restraint either. So either way, that is failing everybody, whoever on the board. So that is not a fair thing. And let's invite Mr. Kondalrao Garu to say a thing. He has been doing an extraordinary work on environmental justice also. I will welcome to explain what he is up to. I'm working with him for almost an year or so. So he's very well versed and well rounded, knowledgeable individual from India.
Yeah, welcome, Mr. Kondola Rao, please.
Well, I would like to express congratulations. You have done an extraordinary work for many years. I think that your organization is very important, and I will bear in mind that in the next meeting we can have other participants from other organizations, because my purpose, my intention is with goodwill, get together, unify all the federalist organizations. Please count on me, my friends, to be a bridge with other organizations. And congratulations for the effort, the work, and the determination that you have. I have to leave, but I will be pending. I will wait for uh, uh, your proposal for a meeting with 2 or 3 or 4 organizations. I would like to invite also Mr. Shareh Shariar from Brussels. It is CUNCR. We are partners. My organization in Mexico is CEMERG. First, originally was Planetaphilia. Today, it is the Mexican Center for Global Responsibility. So I have to go, but thank you again for your presentation. Thank you
Sir,
for your effort, and
Sir,
count
thank
on
you
me.
so much. Thank you so much. Just 2 brief comments that
Okay.
I will, no point my sending a proposal to the bigger alliances. It is better. I'll tell you why. On 12th of December, more than 1.5 month back, Dr. Glenn Martin was in Delhi, and we had discussed that very soon after he gets back to America, there will be a meeting with the Presidium of the Provisional World Parliament. Now, if
Very well.
we keep, if we do not keep our internal promises, then there's a tough chance that we can make the sovereign nation states, soften
Very
and
good.
bend as we need to. So my first point is that I have already sent enough communications, enough reminders. So please have the initiative. You set up the platform, you set up the meeting, and if you think it is important for us to participate, I'm sure Mr. Prasad Jaladi can also respond to that. We will be there on your platform, because whatever protocol that we may have to follow, if people cannot join on our board, I'm aware of Mr. Sherry's work. I've been told about him much earlier. But the point is that we already have an ongoing communication with Dr. Glenn Martin and Mr. Leopoldo Cook. So I thought it would be better that, rather than creating our own, communication channels, that we go through the WCPA platform. Yeah, that's my humble
Okay.
submission.
Well, thank you again, and let's keep in touch, my friends.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Before we let Kondalrao Garu speak, I have a word. Chandra ji, it is great that you have created a WhatsApp group also on that thing. I think Mr. Francisco and also Mr. Kondalrao needed to be on that group also. Having their permission, of course. And I also followed up with Dr. Glenn Martin yesterday, and he mentioned one interesting thing. He needs to put this on his calendar. So now let's try to communicate with all our fellow members in advance as much as possible, so that we would have their presence also in this kind of meeting. And we can circle back, but again, it is nice
Yeah.
to accommodate as many as possible.
Yeah, Prasad, can I
As much
be
as
very
possible.
candid in
Sure.
sharing that I'm kind of saturated with my reminders, to Dr. Martin and to everyone. So please allow me that to draw a line. And I think because I've been doing the scenario planning, you are much better positioned, that's just my opinion, to take over as executive director. And I can only share that I have enough goodwill and enough credibility to take proactive decisions on behalf of humanity as a whole. And I already extensively shared it with various key people. So I don't need anyone's permission, neither does anyone else. This is, if Mr. Trump can announce, unilaterally the Board of Peace, we have far better intentions. We have far better empathy, compassion, love, kindness, generosity than he may be, found lacking as far as we know. But then I also see Mr. Trump as a very mysterious figure, because in a quantum entanglement, his moves are creating opportunities for us. And I can't be ungrateful to that. It is the fence sitters, who are more dangerous, who are more treacherous. So, what I'm trying to say with my openness, that we don't know what is good and what is evil. It is not what it shows up. We need to make far more keen observations and be very discerning on who real the evils are. I think the evils are more likely to be people who are silent and trying to benefit from the status quo. Mr. Trump, in his own way, in his own, at times, very funny and very ridiculous ways, is actually a game changer in his own right. He is also a disruptor. So anyone who is a disruptor is actually welcome, because they create the openings for everyone. Because we don't have the resources that Mr. Trump has. So in
Yeah, I
that
agree.
light,
I agree. Yeah, I
to
agree.
issue,
That's why I'm
yeah,
proposing a thing to keep our momentum on everybody's calendars and gather strength and move faster. Right.
see,
So what you said is right. We are going to do all the righteous
I'm
things.
saying that
There is no need to
please
wait.
feel free to evaluate it in your own way, but please
Right.
don't go slow. Don't be too cautious, because on the precautionary principle, we have already lost too much time. Number one.
Yes.
Number two. The point I'm making very clearly is that India is the soft state, and India is most amenable to be the host for Earth Federation. And yesterday's European Union deal with India, called the mother of all deals, that's shaken and stirred, in various geopolitical circles, is also further evidence to all the evidence that already been there for these decades, or rather centuries, that
Yeah.
India is very receptive and we haven't changed much.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
So in the interest
can
of
you
time,
come at the
let's.
earliest? I'm
Yeah, yeah.
making an open request to you. Can you come to India at the earliest, so that, even if it's for a fortnight, we can move to Bengaluru, where the WCPA headquarters are going to come up, meet with Professor P.N. Murthy, meet with Srinivas Yerapottu, and others, some of whom you have already interacted. Sanjay Gadhale is there, who is very powerful. but he's also a maverick, so he won't lead the agenda, but we
Yeah.
can pull him along, and he can bring large networks along with him. So we have to
I
be.
came back. I came
Yeah.
back from India in the last couple of weeks of November, but I'm trying hard to get back there. But as discussed, in the interest of time, let's give an opportunity to Mr. Kondalrao Garu to speak.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
He
Yes,
has a
please.
powerful
Yes.
approach also on these things. He
Yes,
has
yes.
been there on grounds.
I'm
Um,
sorry, there are just a few important
Sure.
things I needed to share with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
I'm with you. So, Mr. Kondalrao Garu, please take it away. I think he's in and out. Kondalrao Garu, can you hear me? So in the meanwhile, you can continue. No, I agree with you. In the previous comment I made is actually about having our agenda on everybody's calendar, so that we gather more people and run faster with all our vision, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, my suggestion is that if your schedule allows you to travel, could you meet people like Dr. Glenn Martin and Mr. Francisco Pente, uh, in person? What it will do is that, because they are very old people,
mhm.
in-person meeting will allow them to take decisions
Yes.
which online meetings probably will not be able to achieve. That's
Yeah,
my thinking aloud.
no, I'll discuss with them and see what their view on personal meeting, or whether they would be comfortable also online. Either way, the point is to progress, right? We don't want to waste a second on these things. Mr.
Right.
Kondalrao Garu, please take it
Yes,
away.
yes. Thank you.
We've been waiting for you to speak. Can you hear us? Yes.
Good evening, Vikash Chandra garu and
Right. Good
Prasad
evening,
garu.
sir.
Sorry, Chandra Vikash garu and Prasad Jaladi garu. So it's a pleasure meeting you through Zoom. I have been a friend of Mr. Prasad garu for the past, I think, about 1 year. And we are on the same, a journey towards sustainability. And it's a good initiative by you to have a world federation like thing, because the existing United Nations has been subverted by certain powers. So unfortunately, the objective for which the United Nations was established, it could not be fully fruitful. That's the unfortunate thing, really. People are coming out of even international agreements like Paris Agreement and Kyoto Protocol, etc. And even WHO also. That's the unfortunate thing. And they are not, honoring their commitments to the international organizations, or bilateral or multilateral treaties, etc. Very unfortunate thing. And so the ultimate casualty is the peace and justice, for that matter. I have been thinking for a long time regarding how to revive the United Nations organization, to make it more, to realize its dreams, which were enunciated in 1945. So anyway, it's of course maybe beyond me. So it's a good thing that you have taken up the cudgel of either reviving or establishing an alternative organization to further the similar objectives for which the United Nations was established, for world peace and prosperity and justice and partnerships and health and etc. So anyway, so I'm basically a public health engineer. I worked in the government of Andhra Pradesh, that is combined Andhra Pradesh, and presently I'm an ESG and sustainability professional. It's a freelancer, and I'm mostly trying to connect with the students and youth to further the cause of environment and climate change related things. That's what we are doing. Very recently, I have been in touch with Dr. P. Narayan Rao Garu, who is a very learned man. He's older than me, elder than me, and he has established. Of course, we both together we have formed one small group, environmental justice forum like thing, and which will work for working towards the towards environmental justice for the disadvantaged groups and who are disproportionately affected by environmental damage or not getting equitable benefits out of any environmental benefits, also environmental positive things also. So in that context, we have recently held a seminar inviting all the people, particularly in the Institution of Engineers, and we had a very good response. And we would like to in the next month, February 22nd, we have planned to hold a roundtable conference with the media and the civil society and intelligentsia. So the idea is how to involve and involve the media to be a channel or a carrier to convey the message of environmental justice and to catalyze the community or the people into being a pressure group, so that the government will government and all other actors, whoever are the stakeholders, like the industries or the regulator or the government or the civil society, to at least first of all they have to recognize that there is a terminology like environmental justice, and it is a real thing. The people, the poor people and the disadvantaged are really suffering, and then in what way we can help them realize environmental justice. So that's our idea. So we would be very grateful if you can also contribute to our cause. And I am one with your cause of World Federation and peace and justice for the and partnerships at the world level. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, both of you.
You are very welcome, sir. Mr. Chandra, do you have any comments? Because I know Kondalrao Garu for quite a reasonable time, so I am totally with him. So.
Yes, so thank you so much. The honesty, sincerity, the commitment to purpose, shines through, in his words and in his, experience. Yet, I would say that, these grassroots voices, they are still caught up in the old story where somebody was listening to their plea. We've come to a stage, what I call the theater of the absurd, where there is nobody to listen to you. You know, your all your, uh, pleas, your appeals, your, uh, requests, they are all not addressed by any entity, because the sovereign nation states are locked up in a competitive rivalry, and they only respond to people like them, who come to World Economic Forum meeting at Davos. How long can we continue to be tone deaf and just turn a blind eye to this reality as it plays out, not since years, but now decades. I mean, World Economic Forum had its 56th annual meeting in Davos. So it's not a new organization that some of us may be unaware of. So my point very clearly is that being good is not good enough. When good means complacency, when good means being reclusive in your silos, where when good means just taking a piecemeal approaches, we need to be great. Being good is not good enough. And my humble plea to Mr. Condola Rao and everyone, who thinks that, this is kind of at, at a elderly age, calling for environment justice and calling for, environment social responsibilities. I think the voices have to coalesce and they have to be rising to the higher levels. Media is no longer interested in listening to stories. There is such a fragmentation and splintering of the media space that someone may do a story with you and you may carry it and you may think that everyone is listening and it's making a difference. It's not. Let's be very clear about that. So again, coming back to the point I was making with Mr. Plankarte and also with you, Prasad ji, is that we have to take the bull by the horn. Just like Mr. Trump is doing, we have to learn the good things from him. Just as he didn't need anyone's permission to set a board of peace. And he didn't even follow the decorum of the president of United States being a lifetime chairman. It is him in his individual capacity. Now you may question his intentions, you may question his mental health, but the fact that he's a disruptor, the fact that he is calling the bluff on the Paris deal, which was anyway dormant, for him pulling out or staying in doesn't make an iota of difference to the fossil fuel phase out agreements. So my point is that let us listen to our conscience. Let us listen to the possibilities, because if we can swing the global public opinion by merging together, not creating alliances, into a civic society-led Earth Federation and make a formal announcement in which, for example, let's say we create a panel of about 7 to 8 people, which may include Mr. Plankarte, Dr. Glenn Martin, Dr. Andriy Belyanev, the Secretary General of World People's Assembly. Now, I'm sure this message will reach out to my Russian friends who have invested, more than 100 hours in discussions. So please understand that when you are there for 100 hours, I'm also investing my time. And at the end of the day, if you say that we need a few $1 million just to get Dr. Belyanev in a roundtable meeting in Moscow, then it simply doesn't add up. It simply doesn't align to the emergency response. So, Prasad, I think you have enough kind of structure around you, because I always believe that Earth Federation would have its own jurisdiction. There's no point registering it under a national authority, under a national jurisdiction. It simply doesn't make any sense. So my approach is very clearly to lead from the front and be the trailblazer in terms of making appointments of an interim structure for the novel Earth Emergency Rescue Administration. So the board of trustees has to have a chairman. Then we appoint 200 people. So we have 5 regions identified. We have 60 provinces identified. So if we want a geographical representation, then 3 trustees each from each of the 60 provinces add up to 180. And then we can have 20 lateral entries. So all we need to do is to put up a website, create a form in which people can either self-nominate or have secondary nomination. And then through a process of screening and if needed, voting as a last resort, we select who the 200-member trustees would be. Because the legislation is already ratified 40 years back and it has been updated in the most recent 16th Provisional World Parliament. So we don't need any further approvals for that. Similarly, we need to appoint 5 regional directors. So as I showed in my presentation, which I will also share across in the group. So I will also make you the administrator in the group so that you can add people in your network. So now 5 regional directors get appointed and they in turn take charge of having a democratic election for provincial directors for the 60 provinces. So because these regions are equal longitudes, so they each have about 80 degrees longitude, 4 of them, and then the 5th, which is East Asia and Oceania, which has lots of ocean part in it, has only 40 degrees. So we then have a democratic election for provincial directors as well as district directors. Then we go up to the next level, which is each district has 6 zones called zero waste system and localized abundance and circular economy. And one of our close associates, Pavel Katev, he is very strongly focused on this particular aspect of zero waste system and localized abundance and circular economy. So he also speaks very good English. So we will have him on board for that. So 6 zones, and then each zone has 18 villages each. Each village in turn has 108 intentional communities constituting of 108 individuals. And as we all agree, we consider individuals to be a sovereign. So we have one individual as sovereign and we have one earth as sovereign. Everything else is intermediate facilitating structure. And we apply the principle of hierarchy and subsidiarity. So subsidiarity means that everything that can be done at the lowest level must be done there. But if it requires an economy of scale or if it requires a larger coordination, then it moves to the next level and then the hierarchy sets in. So for those issues, then the higher authority is in charge. So through this, what is called simultaneous policy, very nicely articulated by a strategist called John Bunzel, a British industrialist and globalist. So you can look at his work if you put in the keyword SIMPOL, simultaneous policy. So with this structure, we are able to activate the 14 committees for food and water security, for air quality, for zero waste system and education, health, energy security, and then have the sustainable development goals back on track. Because if you read the updates, which I've already shared in the ViBES Global Manifesto, that they're all off track, they're all running behind schedule. And as push comes to shove, we already have a precedence of what the cartel, which controls what is called the OCGFC, the owners and controllers of global financialized capital. Now, when push comes to shove, the only option that is open to them is depopulation, which essentially means killing people through treachery and deception. It could be either through bioweapons, as it was done in case of COVID, or it could be in terms of war escalations and even pressing the nuclear button. They wouldn't mind because it allows them to control, and by selling weapons they can have billion-dollar deals, so they can have better concentration of wealth rather than ecological regeneration, which becomes very distributed. So
Yeah, so true. We are very aware of those things, being having a very good lookout on the world politics, dynamics, and everything, including economies. So, thank you for bringing up these things. Shall we ask Kondal Rao ji if he has something to add on this? We can wrap it up because there are not many people here, and we both are on the same page. As I understand myself and your proposals and everything on this, and it would move in a rather faster path in near future.
Yeah, Prasad, let me also clarify on this issue that though people are finding it difficult to come online, but if you saw the last video we shared with Mr. George Cummings, it already had more than 50 views in last few days. So my thought is that if we can just share our communication, and I'm also making it very clear that this is not equals. We clearly have to bring in elements of hierarchy so that people invest enough time and their attention to read up the literature, the updates that we are sharing. For example, the Doomsday Clock is not about doomsday just for Mr. Prasad Jaladi and for myself. It's for humanity as a whole. And if they made such a bold pronouncement that it has moved further 4 seconds towards midnight, from 89 seconds to 85 seconds, I think everyone should be concerned. And if they are still sleepwalking into disaster, even God cannot help them. So my thinking aloud is very bold and very clear, and I'm not mincing any words. That
Yeah,
if people are not
in
turning
other
up,
words, also, since you are the leader, we're listening and we pay attention to all those things. In fact, I may surprise you by saying one thing. Myself and George even calling it as self-genocide. We are at that level. Trust us. So this is direct. No, we are not hiding anything, shying on anything. This is the most wanted thing to survive as not only as a civilization but also as a humanity. So if anybody with religious strings attached, thinking that there is some superpower that has given them to live like this, and we are reminding even those people who are ignorant, well, God has given us this nature. Don't destroy it and ask for anything else, because He is not an idiot. He knows everything. So be sensible on what you are trying to do and come up with a better solution than what you are doing today for better civilization. Otherwise, we are killing
yes.
our own kids, and our parents won't do that. So who are we? Thank you.
Yes, so we are worse than the cannibals. We are worse than the ages barbarians that we like to despise and look down upon. So let's make it very clear, very bold, very emphatic. Now, before we wrap up, I would just like to share one particular arithmetic calculation that I did on the Doomsday Clock. I found a better way to convey the message of the Doomsday Clock, which is to say that rather than saying that we are 85 seconds to the midnight, which many people find difficult to relate to, I have taken the analogy of a car with lots of weapons of mass destruction, or rather a heavy truck overloaded with weapons of mass destruction, hurtling downhill towards a cliff. Now imagine if you are on a 1,000-kilometer journey. Now, if we are at 85 seconds to midnight, on a 24-hour clock, then on a 1,000-kilometer journey, you are just 80 meters away from the edge of the cliff before you fall into a precipitous collapse. So earlier we were at 103 meters, on the last setting of the clock, which was at 89 seconds, we were at 103 meters. We have moved 23 meters. And we are still, not able to slow down, decelerate, and, put the brakes bring the car to a stop. So my point is that unless we pull out all the stops, this overloaded truck is going to fall down the gorge, down the cliff, and we will be really regretting in our next lives, whenever we get born in whatever fashion, that when we had the chance to put the brakes, we were still sleepwalking. So my, very clear warning to everyone listening to this, as if you are an elder person, as your son, or if you are my age, as your brother, and if you are much younger, as a father figure, whichever intergenerational justice that that's been my life mission, that really drives me, and that never tires me, because I like to what Chris Medel, the person who dropped out of the Republican race as governor just day before yesterday, he said, he found it difficult to look into the eyes of his daughter and tell you, I have two daughters, and they are 23 and 18, and it's the same feeling that strongly resonated with me, that I find it difficult to look into the eyes of my children and say that our generation is not letting them down, or rather, it is not eating into their future, it is not forfeiting their future, it's not cannibalizing their future. So, with these very strong words, I'd like to end my appeal and invite all of you. If you can't find time, then set up meetings at your own time, and we will find ways to be present and to spread the message. That is why creating the petition was a very effective way, because that gives you the flexibility of sharing your comments at your own time and putting your signature. So that's my appeal, that please ensure that we get 1 million signatures, by Sunday, by the weekend. Let's keep the first milestone, because our next milestone, as we also discussed with Mr. George Cummings, is what is the statistically significant population that creates the critical mass, or what's called the guiding coalition. So statistically it is 3.5%, but he said that let us go 10 times of that, so that would mean 1/3 of humanity, or at least about 2 billion people. That's not very difficult in today's digitally connected age, where more than 4 billion people are online. And for something on which is a life and death issue, which is such a big moral, solemn responsibility for each one of us, I don't think we would be found wanting and lacking when the world and our children and coming generations need us the most. I think I've said enough. And Prashad, please share your concluding remarks, and we'll wind up this session.
Yeah, let's go with Mr. Kondalrao Garu now. So, and
Yes,
since
please.
he is a newcomer here, sometimes I encourage others, because at one point of time I think that we start developing this tunnel vision. So fresh talk would always refresh our minds and go with speed.
Always very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have listened to both of you, and I am one with you regarding sustainable development goals and the need for partnership and for reviving institutions like the United Nations and working towards world peace and prosperity and multilateralism, and of course towards my passion, environmental justice, and sustainability. So we'll work together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kunal Rao Garu, for your solid support on this to this platform, and we are delighted to have you here. And yeah. Let's move faster on this, given our approaches. Let's make this river as a ocean, and I hope, I believe that we would be succeeding in turning some heads around, souls, more than that, souls around to work on this great mission. This is the time. If we blink on it, no matter who we are, there is no humanity in us left anymore. So thank you so much for all your contributions today, and in fact all our attendees today. And I appreciate the valuable time that you spent on this, Mr. Chandra. Also, this is not easy. You already saw me attending regularly on these things. It could be also a testament from my side how serious I am on this kind of things, right? So whenever I bring the number thing or attendee thing, it's not about the number, but again, commitment, right? That's the end game. So how committed we are to change the system. So in other words, we are soldiers for systems re-engineering at core to better our civilization. I hope it would be useful for everybody, including the future generations, of course, biodiversity included. So thank you, everybody, for your great contributions. Let's march forward.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'll show the recording now and just share with you a few things offline. 1 minute. What's happening? Okay, so just yeah. So my point is that since you are on the same time zone as Mr. Francisco Plancarte, Dr. Glenn Martin, and also Leopoldo Cook, as well as many other people. So my suggestion is that if you could, during your daytime now, if you could speak to them and see what's happened is kind of a fatigue that has set in some of the old campaigners, and that is where bringing in fresh energy, more younger people, who have let's say lots of skin in the game is very important. So I was just trying to put this offline, but somehow I don't know what's happening. I just shifted the 1 minute. Yes, okay. I shifted to the